guy? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not a motivational speech guy. Coming to the stage, though, we have a very funny comedian. His name is Stephen Mice.
Thank you, thank you. Have you ever wondered what kind of sex your parents were having when they made you? Was it makeup sex? Was it hot sex? Was it angry sex? Was it sex outdoors? Was it sex in the back seat of a car? Because I have a theory. I have a theory that the kind of sex they had determines a lot about who you are. If you're a people pleaser, that was makeup sex. If you're a bit of a hothead, that was angry sex. If you're passionate, that was hot sex. And my theory explains why some people are just assholes or just suck. I myself, I'm short, I like to hike in the woods. I think my parents had a quickie out back. My brother likes cars a lot. I think he's a backseat creation. Now, I don't like to think about my parents having sex. None of us like to think about our parents having sex. But it was forced upon me. I'll tell you why. Imagine for a second, my parents in their 80s, Dad's got a big white bushy beard, and we're meeting because they're having their 60th wedding anniversary. We asked Dad, what are some of your favorite memories from your 60 years of marriage? He strokes his beard. He says, well, it's when you kids were little, and I just remember all the times your mom and I had sex outside. True story. And he goes on to tell us about the woods behind the house and the sailboat out on the lake where they made love on the waves and that island they'd pull up shore on. Well, my brother and I are catching frogs on the shore. And it was weird and disgusting. And on the one hand, it's like, go mom, go dad. And on the other hand, I can't lie, I'm a little scarred. There's some fertile ground for therapy there. As a matter of coincidence, my first wife was a psychiatrist. Don't marry a psychiatrist. I'll give you two reasons. One, every time I said something she didn't like, she'd say, that's really interesting you say that. Why do you think you said that? And two, if you're having an argument with your wife, the psychiatrist, and she says, you're crazy, you have to at least consider the possibility that she's right. Now, luckily, I later met the love of my life, Bethany. She knows, she knows my process. She knows me. I really feel like she gets me, right? When I'm working on these jokes, she just stops and says, oh, I see that face. Here it comes. I think it's the same way when we're having sex. I know that face. Here it comes. Now, between that first marriage and the second marriage, I was single for about 10 years, and I went on dates, some of them memorable, some not so memorable. I remember one in particular, though. We were going for a hike. It was the first date. We met at the trailhead. She had on her hiking boots. She had on her backpack. I figure she knows what she's doing. So we go on the hike, and we go a couple miles in, and we're a little bit lost. And she asked me to reach into her backpack and pull out her reading glasses so we can see where we are. I reach into her backpack, and it's a loaded gun. True story. And I ask her why she's got a loaded gun in her backpack, and she says something about meeting bears in the woods or strange men. I mean, we've all heard that one, right? I mean, look at me. Do I look like a serial killer? I'm an average white guy with glasses, a former Boy Scout. God damn it, I do sound like this. Okay, so maybe she had a point. So at that point, I figure I have three choices. One, I can toss that gun into the woods and run like hell, but we're lost, so I don't really know where to go. Two, I can pull that gun out, do some sort of really fancy John Wick, Jet Li and Lethal Weapon 2, CIA shit, pull the thing out of the gun, take the clip out, and hand it back to her. But I don't know all that stuff. So I could also just wimp out, put it back in the backpack gently, and hope for the best. Obviously, I choose that option. So we go a little further on the hike, and then I hear her say behind me, oh my God, I'm bleeding. And I figure, well, she hasn't shot herself, because I would have heard that. I figured she's hit her shin on a rock or something, but no, she's had an accident of the monthly variety. And this woman who had been so prepared that she put a loaded handgun in her backpack on the small possibility she'd meet a bear or a serial killer had not thought to pack some supplies for something that seems to me kind of predictable. So we go a little further on the hike, and at the end of the hike, there I am in a CVS with $20 in my hands, hunting around for female hygiene products. And it's confusing. There's thin, there's thick, there's mini, there's maxi, there's things with wings. I didn't even know they could fly. Oh, man. I have a son. He's 27. He's Korean. My first wife and I adopted him when he was 6 months old. And I meet him for coffee every couple of weeks. We go to Starbucks. And we get these funny looks, like people look at us. They see this young, good-looking Asian guy. They see this older white guy. And I can see the wheels in their head turning, like, this is dad or is daddy? I still remember how proud I was when I dropped him off at college. You know, I figured, he's in college now. My work is done, or at least partially done. A couple weeks later, he calls me and he says, Dad, did you know they don't make you go to classes here? It turns out my work was not yet done. So needless to say, he's back living with me in a couple of weeks after that. And it quickly becomes obvious that our lifestyles just aren't meshing, right? That the smoking, the drinking, the coming in and out at all hours of the night. And to be fair, he was doing some annoying shit too. So I knew something had to be done. So I figured I had three choices. One, tell him to pack his shit and get the hell out of the house. Two, have another sit down about rules and respect for your fellow housemaid and yada, yada, yada. Or three, wimp out, tell him I'm selling the house, it's time to downsize, and he should find an apartment with his buddies. Obviously, I choose option three, which I did. I sold the house. It was the best parenting move I ever made. We're now on much better terms, and in fact, he's thanked me for kind of giving him a little nudge to get out of the house. I'll leave you with this. A buddy called me the other day, and he said, Steve, my kid is driving me nuts. He leaves his shit all over the house. He won't do anything I tell him to do. He's keeping me up at all hours of the night. I tell him, dude, do what I did. Tell him you're downsizing. It's time to move out. You know, get an apartment with his buddies, spread your wings, make your way in the world. I tell you, when he turns 5 next month, he's gonna thank you. Thank you.